Is hiring a wellness coach for nurses actually worth it, or is it just another overpriced fitness trend that they don't need? I'm going to give you the honest answer that a lot of coaches won't give you because most nurses do not need a coach. I repeat, most nurses do not need a coach. Over the years, I've been blessed to work with many nurses from different backgrounds and with different situations. Burnout, exhaustion, chronic stress, poor sleep, weight gain, anxiety, high blood pressure, a laundry list of comorbidities. And honestly, the last thing they need is more motivation. There's not a lot of Eric Thomas videos in the world that they can put on at this moment in their life to get them going, right? What they're missing is structure. What they're missing is a system that attaches to their life to actually help them stay consistent. So these are the real problems that nurses are facing. It's not necessarily a knowledge problem, right? You guys are educated or trained in science, in health, in anatomy, in helping people heal, right? But it's more of a system problem. Number one, are in a failing healthcare system, right? And that begets a lot of issues. The mindset, right? Nurses not knowing what they need to do to actually lose the weight consistently for their body, right? Knowing that what the world does, eat less, move more, generally does not work with a lot of nurses, right? How to balance rotating schedules, going from day shift to night shift, going from 12s to 10s, from 12s to 5/8. They just don't know how to balance that. Plus, if they have a family, if they have kids, understanding how to still give their time to their family, but still prioritize their health. Now, these are the real issues that nurses are facing on a day-to-day that make it all the more challenging to eat right, work out, have good sleep, have good stress management. It's just another layer of friction, right? And because they work a really stressful job, like if you're watching this, you're a nurse, you already know, I don't have to go deep into this. Your job is stressful. Going to the hospital, working 12s is extremely stressful. That high cortisol in your body makes some of the most mundane and simple things look astronomical, right? Chores at home, day-to-day tasks at home seem so impossible to do. So imagine trying to actually lose weight consistently. And if you have never done it before, like you were just young and high metabolism, but then as you started to get older and you were working as a nurse, the weight is piling up, more responsibility is piling up, and there was never an education to actually manage this. And this is where nurses get stuck, right? And this is the biggest problem that a lot of nurses are facing right now. So this is when a wellness coach truly is not necessary for nurses. I'm gonna be completely honest here. So if you're looking for overnight results, if you have been on the Ozempic trend, the GLP-1 trend, the surgery trend, and you've seen, oh my gosh, this person lost 50 pounds in 2 weeks. Oh my gosh, they lost 30 pounds in 3 days. And you're looking for something magical, something overnight transformation, a coach isn't for you, right? This isn't, sprinkle some fairy dust and whoosh, your wishes come true, right? So if you're in that category, you don't get a coach, right? Don't get a coach if you can't be coachable, if you can't follow directions, right? I know you have the knowledge, especially if you're an MSN, if you're an NP, a DNP, you feel like, some ego may be there a little bit, which is understandable, right? You've spent years dedicated to your studies, your pedigree, so you feel like, oh my gosh, I should know what to do. Why is he telling me this? Why? Don't get a coach. If you cannot be coachable, if you cannot follow directions, if you cannot listen, for sure, ask questions. Not saying you can't ask questions. I always challenge my clients to ask me questions because not just challenge, I encourage it because it helps them understand why we're doing this. And once they can understand, okay, this is why we're doing this, and they see the result from it, it's so much easier for them to change their ideology, right? So if you cannot be coachable, don't get a coach. Now, if you cannot change your routine, if you're not willing to change, don't get a coach because you're where you're at right now because of how you've been doing things, right? So you're watching this video right now because you know the things you're doing, you don't know. So you're trying to see, should I get a coach? Should I not? Should I? You're trying to see because the things you've been doing have got you to this point, right? And I'm not saying this is your fault. I'm not trying to put blame on you, but the way your lifestyle has been going thus far has got you to this point. So things need to change. It's crazy. Some of the some of the people that want to work with me, and when we go over all the stuff in the program, they're like, "Oh, I don't want to give up this. I don't want to do that. I don't want to." I'm like, "So why are you here? Like, do you really want this? Do you really want to lose 50 pounds for good? Do you really want to have a nice toned, sexy body? Because this is what it requires." And again, this is another element of why, if you go outside, if you go to the grocery store, 90% of people are going to be obese, right? Because 90% of people are not willing to put in the work that's required. And if you're not willing to put in the work that's required to overcome burnout, to build a system that makes you consistent with taking care of your body, to change your mindset, to be able to know that it's okay to prioritize you, right? And not neglect your health for the sake of others, right? If you're not willing to change those things, do not get a coach. You guys would just butt heads, and you're gonna be like, why did I invest into this? This is a huge mistake, because you're not willing to change, right? So these are the main things that if you're not willing to change, if you can't do not get a coach. You are not going to succeed with having a coach. So this is when it is definitely worth it to get a coach, right? Number one, you're burnt out. And when I say burnt out, I mean performing regular stuff is like going to the moon, right? You are burnt out, and this is gonna catch up to you. This is going to catch up to you. If doing regular stuff is so challenging, then oh my gosh, right? This is gonna mess up your day-to-day. This is gonna mess up your schedule. And if you have kids, this is gonna just make you completely depleted, run on fumes, until, God forbid, something bad is gonna happen. And I've seen this so many times. We're only flesh and blood, guys. I know nurses, you guys are saving lives. So maybe that God complex may come in there and you think you can do it all and keep going for the next 50 years. No, that's not the case. Your body will break down. You will have a heart attack. You will have a stroke. You will experience a severe comorbidity because you are a human being. You're flesh and blood. And if you go without nourishing yourself, if you go without proper sleep, if you go without taking care of your body, getting yourself strong, taking care of your mental health, and you continue to put yourself in highly stressful situations, you guys know this. Stress is the #1 killer on the planet, right? You guys know this. Your body cannot withstand this. No matter how much of an angel you think you are because you save lives every day, which I appreciate you for, but still, you're still flesh and blood. So if you're experiencing high burnout, you need a coach. If you are overwhelmed, right? If you feel like from work to personal life, maybe you're also in school, you got family stuff. If you don't have balance, if you don't have a work-life balance, you need a coach. Some of the prospects I talk to, they're like, hey, I just have too much on my plate. I don't want to add any friction. That's why you need a coach, right? A good coach is going to make life simpler for you, right? It's going to help you organize and balance your life. He or she is not going to add friction to your life. That's a bad coach. That means they're unexperienced. They probably have never worked with nurses or people in healthcare, and they've probably just been coaching for like a year or two, right? They just joined this online trend. But if you work with someone like me who's been coaching for 10 years, they're gonna have the experience to help you balance your life in a way that seems easy and effortless. And that's why you need a coach. If you feel like, oh my gosh, I have all this going on. I have school, I have family, I have work, I'm about to get another job, I have a dissertation, I'm on a committee, so many things, right? I have family coming in, oh my gosh, my sister's coming from Sweden. If you have all these things going on in your life, you need a coach. If you are noticing that you just don't feel like yourself anymore, if you're walking past the mirror and you're like, I don't recognize myself anymore, you need a coach, because the doctor can't fix that. Your doctor only knows pharmacology. He or she only knows, okay, there's this problem, here's this drug, right? I mean, you can go to a psychiatrist and they're gonna probably do the same thing. Oh, you have this thing, oh, take this drug, maybe take a Zoloft, maybe, do this and you'll feel better, right? But the reason why you don't recognize yourself anymore is because your body, your brain understands who you are and understand who you've been. So when you go 5-10 years not prioritizing yourself and you pick up 30 pounds and you got some wrinkles now, not because of age, but because you're literally stressing yourself out every day, your cortisol levels are through the roof, and you finally get a chance to actually look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, oh my God, who is this? You don't have any confidence at all. It takes you like 5 hours to put on clothes because nothing fits. You don't look good. Like, girl, these are deep issues. This is what you need a coach for. And it's specifically a coach who works with nurses and somebody in your shoes. Not just some person that just graduated high school and wants to train you in his basement. No, that's not what you need, right? You need someone specialized who understands what you're feeling, who understands that you put on a front, right? And sometimes people even tell you, oh, you're still pretty though, you're pretty. And you're like, oh, don't say that. I don't feel pretty. I don't feel like this, right? You need a coach who understands those challenges that only you really know that you're going through. Because they understand that, they have the solution to actually help you fix that. And finally, if you struggle with consistency, you need a coach. Right? A coach is going to hold you accountable, right? Not only from the investment standpoint, right? Things that you're invested in, you usually stay committed to, right? You know, a lot of people don't like to waste money, right? So if you're invested in a program, in a person, it's going to be hard for you to decommit, right? But also, again, a good experienced coach is going to know how to keep you engaged, right? He or she's going to have a gamification process in their system. He or she's going to have an incentive process in their system to keep you engaged and committed. But then, this is the secret, right? Once you start seeing results, once you start noticing, oh my gosh, my stomach is getting flatter. Once you start getting compliments, like, oh my gosh, girl, you're looking amazing. It's going to be so much easier to be consistent. And all of those things only happen when you work with a good coach. So if any of these things, if you fit any of these boxes, that's a pretty good sign that you need to hire a coach. A lot of nurses struggle with their health because they're used to being a helper, right? They're the ones that are being called upon from family, from friends. And this mindset catches up to them physically because usually a lot of nurses take care of everybody else, everything else, but themselves. And when this catches up to them physically, they don't really know what to do. And what I've seen, which is a crazy phenomenon, they just continue to take care of everybody else. Maybe they'll take an Ozempic, maybe they'll, do a surgery, something quick, right? Because they're focused mentally, they're focused on everybody else but themselves. Oh, I'll start taking care of myself once my son goes through college. And they put so many excuses, right? Because again, they're used to doing stuff alone. They're used to being in the hospital. They're dealing with the family members. They're dealing with the patients, 4, 5, 12, 30 patients if you're at home health. They're used to communicating with the MD. They're used to communicating with the pharmacist. They're the middleman in all of healthcare. And a lot of times they're doing this alone, right? So when it comes to their own health, right, this is why they struggle with like seeking help and asking for a coach, because their mindset, their ideology, their whole being has been solidified with working alone and handling things by themselves. So being in that position where, okay, I need to get help, right? You need to find a good coach. And here I am. If you're a full-time registered nurse who is exhausted chronically, always tired, burnt out, if you feel like anything that was added to your plate right now, if one more thing was added, it would just tip you over. You need a coach. You need support. You don't need more motivation. You don't need more information. You have like 100 videos saved on your phone right now from Instagram. You have like 50 PDFs on nutrition from TikTok, right? You have all the information, but you're overloaded. Your cortisol levels are through the roof. You have so many things going on with work and school and personal life and family and kids. The last thing you need is another thing added to your plate. But what is really going to help you is structure and support. Something that makes all of those things dissipate. You need stuff that is going to be easy to follow. You need a system that attaches to your life, right? And if this is what I created with the Hot Nurse Protocol, I was blessed to create this program working at MedStar Hospital during COVID, the worst of the worst, right? So if it could work for COVID nurses, it can definitely work for you. And if you're slightly interested, just hit the link in the description and apply for my one-on-one premium coaching program. And I really look forward to seeing if we can collaborate together. But if you found this video really, really valuable, you definitely want to check this one out. So really appreciate you. Have a blessed day. Peace.